So welcome back. This is Paul again, and I've been making a lot of series about different esoteric subjects on my YouTube site. And one of the areas I covered was about aura and the use of energy in our personal field. And I thought I'd make a series about the so-called bodies that people have. You know, a lot of people talk these days about the so-called astral body or the etheric body or the mental body or whatever. And a lot of different concepts come up in people's mind and try to imagine what these so-called bodies are and what do you do with them and so on. So I thought I would just put into my 2 cents here about this subject because for me it's just really about energy. There's something, first of all, get away to all the concepts for a minute here, all the so-called books about the chakras and all, and get back to some real basic stuff regarding energy. Now, in esoteric teachings, the ancients have said that our being, we're like a little candle. The assembly of our energies in our body, in our aura, there's a variety of different forces that are part of this. For example, we have heat, we have light, electromagnetism, there's sound. There's these forces that are really making our body. We're walking down the street and we're doing whatever we want to do, and we're thinking I am this or I am that, but in reality, on the real physical, practical, nitty-gritty, it's a bunch of energy. We're just a bunch of water. So all these things, their forces are working together here, and the ancients said basically you need to get these, first of all, just like a chariot. A chariot has different parts. It has the wheels, and it has the frame, and it has the this and the that, and the controlling mechanism, and so on. And the senses are like your horses, and our body, the assembly of all this energy, is our chariot. And what's it carrying? Well, we know it's carrying water. So the ancients basically tried to divide it up into some segments. So look, there's certain parts of this structure that we have that we carry with us. And they decided that they would name them certain things. They called them the gross physical, or the kama manas, the desire body, or the etheric body. They had various ways of talking about these divisions of energy, basically. We basically have an assembly of the spectrum of energy that's going on. It's breathing, it's in motion. And the water energy in our body, the physical water in our body, has often been associated with the emotional part of ourselves. Because if you think about a bowl full of water, and you shake it and jiggle it, and next thing you know, man, it's a big mess. And the idea of smoothing out our emotions, there's a rhythm, because this sound affects the emotional body. The sound affects the water in our body, and there's a lot of it. So when we take in sound, we can soothe ourselves or get disturbed either way, you see. So the ancients had divided this into what I call the gross physical body. The gross physical body, actually, the thing that we touch, the thing that we see, we say, well, that's somebody, that's a body. No, what we're actually seeing, people don't realize, a lot of people don't realize that our skin, just as we walk around every day, little tiny pieces of our skin are literally just shaken off. So that thing that you're looking at, you're looking at someone's skin, well, right before your eyes, you don't see it in slow motion, but that body is just dissolving as you speak. It's an appearance. And its appearance, there's a blueprint underneath an energetic body for which the gross body is really just a shell. It's the appearance. It's like I said, it's flickering completely. The emotional body is really important because we are very much made of water. But it's not a body in a sense where there's like a shape to it, because see, the mind is basically using energy from the more subtle planes. For example, the gross physical is mostly affected by sound, the emotional body. Then you get up into the soul body. The soul is the charioteer. The soul is the one that's driving this whole thing, or supposed to be driving it. The mind, in ideas, this is where the trap is for human beings, in the emotional and mental area, the desire body. the appearances that we see, the disturbances in our emotional thing, the limited perceptions that we have in our mental body, because we're seeing literally through physical forms, we're not seeing the clear underlying matrix. A lot of confusion gets tied up in it. This is why the ancient people said this is the trap right there. Because once we understand that there's another kind of consciousness, the real charioteer gets confused because our desires tend to go into the appearances rather than go into the light. Now, when we start looking with the mind and our awareness within, there's light within. There's this, the more subtle things are within. There's also sound within. You can hear within. All of this, all of these sheaths are related to the perception. The perception uses our senses, minerals, glands, nerves, light, sound, smell, touch. The core of sensing. Now again, if we're seeing the reflection, which basically the ancient people said, your physical body, it's hard to grasp this. Let's say you have a sponge and you dip the sponge in water. The sponge is full, but it's its own entity. Our physical vehicle is in this soup of energy, basically. Light energy, sound energy, electromagnetic energy that's we're living in. And that whole thing is sustaining like this egg, each individual. But just like our physical body is shaving off little flakes, this energy can draw in energy to it, or it can dissipate energy. This is our system here. There's a lot more perception that can go on when more rhythm happens. You see, so these so-called sheaths are really more electrical potential fields that are they're interacting fields that are animated by electromagnetic awareness and light and that sort of thing. There's electricity and light has awareness. It's hard for people to grasp this, but this is what the ancients say, that if you follow in consciousness all the way from the physical, get to the more subtle, the more subtle, the more subtle, the more subtle, minerals, the nerves, follow the nerves, listen to the sounds. On the deepest level, our soul has we have what they call a causal body, which is pure light, which interacts and is interrelated and intermingled with the infinite cosmic light. Because we're bathed in light. People don't see that. People assume that there's distance, but there's not really distance in terms of the energy. We may see something over there that's a tree, but for every single millimeter in tiny, tiny fraction atomic molecule between myself and that tree is full. That's the thing that we try to understand. What is this that we're in now? We have these so-called bodies. We only have a certain amount of time in these videos to cover stuff, but an introduction to basically this sea of energy that we're in, and we're this particular isolated field, but there's an awareness, and that's where the mystery is. You follow the awareness in to the inner vision, and then you begin to realize that we are in some kind of amazing rhythmic pattern that's going on in creation, you see? And I'll get into some more of the shapes, but basically get into a rhythmic, self-sustaining motion the way atoms have. How does atoms exist for such a long time? Because they have some rhythm. Now, we have to get into that. We'll get into sound, and each one of these senses is associated with different kinds of parts of this so-called body situation here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.